Enthusiasm means interest. Usually I tell students, if you ask a question, who is the best teacher in the world? Write this quote also. Interest is the best teacher. If you are interested in something, you can learn effortlessly. If you are not interested, the best teacher may try to teach you, nothing enters. As simple as that. So who is the best teacher? Interest is the best teacher. And how does it start, this one? We'll go to this is all about air pollution in and around Delhi. The editorial is about air pollution in and around Delhi. We'll go to the tone of the editorial. Obviously, pollution, you show concern or you don't show concern. The tone of the editorial is concerned and critical, criticizing the states for not following the rules and regulations based on a particular body. And one is, there are two dimensions. One dimension, concern. Second dimension, criticism. How does it, before we go to the editorial, we'll have a look at, today I don't think we'll get enough time to go through the editorial, but we'll see. A lot of words are there. First we'll have a look at the words. What is the first one? Tide over. Tide over is a phrasal verb. To support or enable to survive temporarily. To support someone temporarily. Remember that way. Inflection point. The word inflection goes with pronunciation, but here different meaning altogether. Inflection point means a time of significant change in a situation. Underline a turning point. Generally, you all know turning point. In one's life, you come across a turning point. That is known as inflection point. Compliance. Put a star mark. This is an important word. But write the verb form. What is the verb form of this? Write the word comply. Comply is a verb. Compliance, noun form. An important word, what does it mean? To follow the rules and regulations. We have got this word many a time. Sounds familiar or unfamiliar? Familiar. And draft, you all know the word draft. When it comes to writing, draft. But here it has a different connotation altogether. Part of speech, noun. The amount of air, smoke, etc. drawn in. Drawn in means collected. Collected by something. Not easy to understand. And flush, you all know it goes with everyday English. And it's a phrasal verb, flush out. Remove something using a sudden flow of water. Flush out something. And gamut, an important word, part of speech, noun. The complete range or scope of something. Something has got a range. Entire range, we use the word gamut. Anthropogenic, an important word, put a star mark. And this comes from the root anthropos. Anthropo means what? Related to humans. So anthropogenic, chiefly of pollution or environmental damage, not change, damage, originating in human activity. Man is responsible for some change in the environment, the negative side, and that source is called anthropogenic, an important word. Adverse, part of speech, adjective, something negative, having a negative or harmful effect on something. But write one combination, write adverse report. It goes with 2 or 3 words. First you write a report. Imagine when you apply for the passport, the police verification. If they write negatively about you, that is known as adverse report, negative report. It also goes with adverse statement, a negative statement, adverse behavior, negative behavior. So many combinations, but you can take report, a typical combination, goes with the passport, police verification. What is the next word here? Disrupt, you have got so many times. I hope you are making a note. Whenever you come across a familiar word, put the letter F. That means when you revise, you don't have to spend time on that. Disrupt means interrupt. It goes with services. It goes with the supply chain. Part of speech noun, also write a verb. Generally, please correct it. Disrupt is a verb. Disruption, noun form. Write the noun form, disruption. Interrupt, an event, activity, or process, but also write the supply chain. Supply chain. So what is the next word? Have you written supply chain? Disruption of services. Disruption of supply chain. Stalemate, usually this goes with chess. How many of you play chess? They all know this word stalemate or checkmate. Part of speech noun. A drawn contest, or underline the word deadlock. There's a deadlock. Beyond that you cannot go. Stalemate. Allied we have got for the first time, so put a star mark. After the session, you have to spend some time to remember. Part of speech verb, join together, underline the word merge. Merge goes with what? Companies. When two companies are merged, they are joined. But here, allied, a different context. Concerted, part of speech adjective. Write the combination word. We use the word concerted. Efforts. What is the combination word? Efforts. Concerted efforts. Also write concerted work. Part of speech, obviously adjective. Jointly arranged or carried out. Carry out means execute, implement. Underline that phrasal verb, carry out. Carry out means implement, execute. Coordinated. Coordinated efforts, concerted efforts. Daunting we have got a few times. Daunting, what is a typical combination? Task, very good. I appreciate those who have responded. Please write the word daunting. And task, also write work. Means something very difficult that scares you. And based on that, we use one word, write the word intimidating. Intimidating means something that scares you, that frightens you. Intimidating. And usually I give one idiomatic expression. Some work, a particular work may be easy, but a particular work very difficult to do. Then we say daunting task, a word. But there's one idiom, please write. I use quite often, uphill task. It is an uphill task, means it is a difficult task. They have given this in many exams, so do write uphill task. Have you written? Fine. So these are the words, but so many words are there. Many words are familiar words, and you can, lack of space also, I could not bring all the words. Some words I may tell while doing the analysis, you have to write immediately. As I said, what is this about? It is about air pollution in and around the capital region, that is Delhi, tiding over, supporting someone temporarily, providing a solution temporarily, on North India and its annual air quality inflection point in November. Air quality turning point in November. I don't know how many of you know. You should answer this question. Delhi is one of the most polluted cities in the world. Not in India, not only in India, in the world. What is its rank? The most polluted, number one or number two or number three? I think it is number one, am I right? Delhi is the number one city, most polluted city in the world. You have to confirm, better you cross-check. It has a dubious distinction. Write one expression I have just used. It has a dubious distinction. Dubious distinction, dubious means doubtful. Dubious distinction means something that is not positive. Doubtful distinction. Being the number one city sounds good, but number one in what? Pollution. Then we use a dubious distinction of being the number one city in the world as the most polluted city. And usually those who know about this, it happens in the month of, during the winter season. Now winter is on. Why does it happen? In and around, if you take Delhi, there are some states where there are a lot of farmers and they cultivate. After the end of the crop season or the crop time, they cut the plants and they leave the stubbles. Stubble means whatever remains. And they burn the stubbles. That burning generates a lot of smoke, and that smoke enters Delhi, the capital region. Because of that, schools also they close for many days. Right now, holidays in Delhi for school students because of this air pollution. So he talks about that. But what is the main idea? India states, here India state means in and around Delhi, the North India they're talking about, should ensure greater compliance on air pollution. Comply means what? Following rules and regulations. So the editorial takes a stand, put a star mark above the helping verb should. We have got so many times, should talks about what? What is the function? Advise or suggest. So suggestion of the editorial states should follow the rules and regulations that go with air pollution. They have to comply with. Comply takes a preposition with. That also you have to remember. Now it has to provide specific information. I'll do it fast because a little complicated, a lot of words are there. Be ready to write. I haven't brought because some of those words are familiar. Delhi and parts of the surrounding states of Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh encounter. Encounter, I haven't brought the meaning, so you got to be ready to write. One meaning, encounter means to get killed by the police. To get killed by the police. They have been encountered by the police. You all know that meaning. But here, encounter, does it mean that? What is the context? Police, crime, or environment? Environment. So, encounter here means face, F-A-C-E, face. Encounter their annual air quality inflection point means face, F-A-C-E. Their annual air quality inflection point or turning point. This is the time, an important phrase, clause. This is a time when the southwest monsoon has receded. You all know last time also whenever I do an editorial on monsoon, I tell students, we have two types of sources of, when it comes to rain, two sources. What is the first one? Southwest monsoon. What is the second one? Northeast monsoon. But the major one is what? Southwest. And this is the time, November, southwest monsoon recedes. Recede, those who don't know, write the meaning, part of speech verb. Go back. Recede means go back. And usually the word recede, write two words. One, recede, also write the word surge. A recede means to go back. Surge means to move forward. Opposite, surge. And these two generally we use with waves. Water level, write two combinations. Water level, waves. High tide, low tide. High tide water, waves surge. Low tide water recedes, goes back. So it talks about which particular monsoon receding. Southwest monsoon has receded, present perfect. And with it, along with it, underline the word with. When you come across certain important words, you have to recollect the rules. When we join two subjects using with, together with, along with, as well as, so many are there, the verb agrees with the first subject. That you have to recollect. The great drafts in the upper atmosphere that normally flush out pollutants, means remove pollutants from the gamut of anthropogenic activities, a range of anthropogenic activities created by the mankind, such as what are those activities? Construction, driving, power generation, and the most important, underline the burning of agricultural residue. I use the word stubs. They come under agricultural residue. Residue means what? Whatever is left out. Very good. So easy to understand the sentence. It talks about air pollution, timing, November, sources, all these, and it is time for the states. They should comply with the rules and regulations. Unfortunately, they are not doing that. That's the reason why they have written. Through the years, there have been studies. Why is this in, these words have been underlined? Which tense is that? Present perfect. But what is the subject here? Put a star mark above the word there. When we use there as a subject, you have to consider the verb based on the noun in that particular expression. What is the noun here? Studies. Put a star mark above studies. Morning in the mock test, we got a question based on this. Some students could not answer, so I would like to spend a minute. Imagine I'm talking about one particular student. Will I say, there has been a student or they have been a student? There has been a student. If I'm talking about more than one student, will I say there has been students or there have been students? Have been students. Based on that here, there have been studies. I hope you got the pattern. Plural noun, we have to use a plural verb. There does not matter. Noun matters. There have been studies commissioned. Commissioned means established. Write the meaning. Establish, or write the word form. F-O-R-M, form. It goes with a particular body, legal body, or related to elections or law. Establish or form. Commission and executive action initiated to study, acknowledge and address the crisis. Through the years, there have been studies commissioned. You can also think of the word instituted or initiated, and executive action initiated to study, acknowledge, and address the crisis. Underline the word address. Answer my question immediately. Address here, noun or verb? You have to respond. Please write a verb, not a regular address. When you ask someone what is, tell me your address, there it is a noun. I have decided to address the problem of the students. Means what? To deal with. Write the meaning. Here address means to deal with. Address the crisis. Deal with the crisis. Now why the word crisis in bold? Crisis means what? A problem, major problem. Why is it important? Why is it in bold? Is this a noun or a verb? Crisis. Noun. Singular or plural? What is a plural form? Write the word that. It is important for that reason. Crisis, singular, crisis, plural. They have given in many competitive exams. So immediately you have to recollect and make a note. Crisis, crisis. The science is also fairly clear on the relative contribution of pollutants and the limits of corrective intervention in the face of adverse meteorology and the disruption to economic life that this can entail. It says scientific evidence is there to show that pollutants are responsible for making a negative impact. Everyone knows that. And imagine there's pollution, there is a negative impact. Does it affect economic life or not? Today, if you take schools holidays in Delhi, many businesses also, they have to be closed. They had to be closed down. Does it make an impact on the economic activity or it does not make an impact? It does. So sentence talks about, we have evidence, scientific evidence. The science is also fairly clear, fairly important, put a star mark. You have to recollect two words. First you write the word fairly, / write the word rather. Listen very carefully, important, do write, listen and write. Fairly is a positive word. Both mean the same. Rather is a negative word. Both mean moderate. I'm sure you all know you use this word regularly. How was the paper? Moderate. Not this side, not that side. So moderate. But positive word. Write one example. He is fairly rich. Rich is positive or negative? Positive. So fairly rich. This is a combination. Have you written this sentence? Someone is lazy. Will you say he's fairly lazy or rather lazy? Please write, he is rather lazy. This you have to remember. Recollect. Fairly has got many meanings. In this context, that's what you have to recollect. On the relative contribution of pollutants and the limits of corrective intervention. There are limits. When it comes to correcting something, limits are there. In the face of adverse meteorology, negative meteorology, and the disruption to economic life that this can entail. This can provide, this can make. Entail here means to make or to provide. Create, make or create. But entail also means to have the right, another meaning. The consequence of this is that the air pollution crisis has now devolved into a stalemate. I should have underlined the word devolved. First you underline has now devolved. Which tense is that? Present perfect. Into a stalemate. It talks about a particular problem, it talks about limitations, and because of the limitations to control or to make sure states comply with rules and regulations, limitations are there. Based on that, it has resulted in a stalemate, means a deadlock. But one important word here, devolve. Write the meaning of that. Devolve, you all know the word evolve, but what is the word here? Devolve means to delegate. Delegate the work to a subordinate. Delegate means assign. Tomorrow you take up the job. First you write this, to delegate the work to a subordinate. Tomorrow you get the job. You become a manager. One of the skills a manager should have, delegation skills. A manager has to do 10 works, but he can do only 5. But he has to do 10. How will he manage? 5 works he will assign to his subordinates. He will delegate to his subordinates. So delegation is an important skill you have to acquire once you take up the job. To a subordinate, giving the work to a subordinate. So it says, going into that position, that is a literal meaning. Devolved into a stalemate means transformed into a stalemate. The Commission for Air Quality Management, CAQM, which is tasked with, underline one unit, addressing the causes of air pollution in Delhi and the adjoining states, is now a body packed with expertise, but whose powers are limited to evoking and recommending grades of measures depending on the degree of deterioration in air quality. It's a body. What is a body? The sentence talks about CAQM, and it is what is its task, what is its responsibility? Address the causes of air pollution in Delhi and the adjoining states. But now a body packed with expertise. I haven't brought the meaning, but we got the word many a time. Expertise means what? Please write the meaning. We have new students. Expertise means a special skill, right? Not simply skill. Special skill. Expertise, special skill. But, why the word but? To express contrasting information. What is contrasting information? But whose powers are limited because of the constraints to evoking and recommending grades of measures depending on the degree of deterioration. Deterioration also I haven't brought. We have got many a time. Deteriorate means what? Go down in quality or standards. Those who don't know, please write the meaning. Deteriorate. Go down in quality or standards. The standards are deteriorating. Also write the combination word health. His health is deteriorating. Another combination you have to. Second part of the editorial, while the CAQM pointed out as recently as October 31st that the daily average air quality in Delhi from January to October of this year was the best in the last 6 years. From which month to which month? January to October of this year, 2023, was the best in the last 6 years. Sentence talks about one positive aspect, one negative aspect. It allies the fact that the number of days in November when air quality becomes severe over 450 AQI has remained roughly the same. This is a negative dimension. Something has been positive. What has been positive? From January to October, the best in the last 6 years. That is a positive. But what is the negative? It allies the fact that the number of days in November when air quality becomes severe has remained roughly the same. No change, no improvement. That is a negative dimension. But here you see the phrase, the number in bold. Put a star mark. Tell me, why is it important? We have two phrases I have written so many times. Those who don't know, they could write quickly. The number, a number. What is the difference between these two? And the first one is very important. The number takes a singular verb or a plural verb. Please write singular verb. And a number takes a plural verb. Singular verb, plural verb. But exam point of view, the first one is very important. They have given many a time. Have you copied? So it talks about the number of days in November when air quality becomes severe has remained. The number has remained. Present perfect, singular verb. Thus, in 2022, the AQI was in the severe category in the first fortnight. Fortnight I haven't brought. What does it mean? How many days? How many weeks? 2 weeks. That you have to. Fortnight of November for 3 days. The same as in 2021, 2020, and 2019. While there is greater awareness and action to curb the sources, curb also I haven't brought the meaning. I'm sure you all know. Curb means what? Restrict, prevent or restrict. Awareness, more awareness, and also action to curb the sources of pollution. November, which has in recent years emerged as a critical month for pollution, remains to be tamed. This is an important sentence. What does it talk about? November is a critical month, and no improvement as such. Based on that, the last expression remains to be tamed. Answer my question, is it an active voice or passive voice? Remains to be tamed. Please write passive voice. And then you write the meaning of the word tame. Tame means control. Remains to be controlled. You can write remains to be controlled, remains to be tamed. Both mean the same. Incidents of stubble burning. So one of the reasons, the main reason rather, for air pollution in Delhi, stubble burning. Incidents of stubble burning in Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh this year have been roughly half that when compared to previous years. They have brought it down. Roughly half means what? They brought it down or they haven't brought it down? They have brought it down, though the weeks ahead are expected to see more such activity. As of now, they have brought it down to 50%, but coming weeks, it may go up. While the measures earlier have seen an institutionalized response to tackle air pollution, it is now time for what? A concerted approach, means together, coordinated approach to address these challenges of November. Beyond stubble burning, this means addressing the more daunting challenges of vehicular pollution and construction dust. Initially, the editorial has mentioned the sources of air pollution in and around Delhi. Main one is stubble burning. What are the other sources? Vehicular pollution and construction dust. They have to take care of these two aspects also. While urban Delhi could have always blamed the distant farm fires, usually Delhi blames the states in and around Delhi for stubble burning. Obviously, Delhi is justified for the pollution crisis. Tackling November may mean hard measures and greater inconvenience. Based on that, they declared holidays to schools. And how many of you know in Delhi, Kejriwal introduced even number, odd number. Are you aware of that? Vehicles, they are the major sources of pollution in a city, air pollution. Delhi, Kejriwal introduced a particular scheme. Starting with Monday, all the vehicles with even numbers should hit the roads. Tuesday, all the vehicles with odd numbers should come out. And the vehicles with even numbers should not come out. Not aware of this? They tried this to control. Then it talks about they should not blame other states. They should also take some measures. Bodies such as the CAQM have to assert. There are two important words here. First one, put a star mark above, have to. Every time I expect the response, but I'm let down. Tell me what is the function of the helping verb have to or has to? It is used to express what? It is used to express an obligation imposed by an external authority or a situation. Every time I tell, you have to write because I've given many a time. And what is the past form of have to or has to? Had to. They had to do it. I had to do it. I had to come. You should recollect. And how does the editorial end? Bodies such as the CAQM have to assert. I always tell the youngsters, once you take up the job, initial stage of your career, you have to be assertive. Assert, verb, assertive, adjective. Assertive means what? Firm, strong. Write the word firm. I will give an example, then you understand. Imagine you are a manager. The GM calls you, general manager calls you, tells you to do something that goes against the rules and regulations. As a young manager, can you say no to your boss? You feel shy because the position is intimidating. But there you have to be assertive. Means what? No, sir, I will not do. It does not go with rules and regulations. I don't want to go against rules and regulations. If you can say that clearly, you are assertive. I hope you got the meaning. So it has to assert the independent credentials, means the credibility, and ensure greater coordination and compliance within Delhi and the surrounding states to address the challenge. In a nutshell, see, when you, after analysis, when you look back or when you think, you have to ask yourself, actually, I want you guys to write. If not, ask yourself, what is this about? Keywords, what are the keywords here? Tell me, Babu. Or what is the broad framework? What is this about? It is about air pollution in and around Delhi. And what are the sources of air pollution? Stubble burning, construction, vehicular pollution, all these. And there is a particular body. What is the body? CAQ, whatever it is. And editorial takes a stand based on which problem the states are not complying with the body. So the editorial says the states have to comply with that particular body. Only then, and while complying, they should not do it in isolation. They have to take concerted efforts, means what? Coordinated efforts. Then they find the solution. Now we'll go to practice questions based on exam topics. The first 5 questions, error location. Read the first one and tell me which part has the error. Governors need not rubber stamp any decision, but one can question the practice of governors. Which part? First you tell me the part. How many of you say second part? That is right. What is wrong with the second part? Rubber stamps or rubber stamp? Strike off the letter S. And here rubber stamp, a noun or a verb? Immediate answer. Need not rubber stamp. It's a verb. Please write verb. Last time also I gave. Need not write. Need not go. Need not speak. Verb. Need not rubber stamp. But actually rubber stamp is a noun. Here it is a verb. That you got to be. Read the second one. The idea of having governors as ex officio vice chancellor of most universities is only a practice and is actualized through their founding statutes. How many of you say fourth part? Good. What is wrong with the fourth part? Is it statutes or statutes? So change the word to statute. Statute, you all know. But statute means what? A written law brought into existence through a legislative body. Statute is the right word. Go to question number 3. It is time to have a national prohibition on governors being burdened with the role of chancellor of any university. How many of you say no error? Very good, I appreciate. Wonderful. Please make a note. The sentence is grammatically, contextually correct. No error whatsoever. Please respect the 5th option sometimes. Go to question number 4. It is unfortunate that absent of a time frame for giving assent, approval, is used by some governors to stymie, delay laws passed by the legislature. Which part has an error? How many of you say second part? What is wrong with the second part? Is it absent or absence? Please change the word form. Here we have to use a noun form. Absent, adjective. What is the noun form? Absence. Absence of. Go to the last one. Tell me where the error is. What the court meant was that it will be constitutionally impermissible, not allowed, for governors to indefinitely hold on to bills without conveying a decision. Which part? Sorry? How many of you say there is an error in the second part? Raise your hands. There is an error in the second part. First you underline was. What it meant was that is in past. Then you cannot use will, change it to would. Will is not correct. We have to use the verb in the past form. Would is correct. Now listen to me first, then you can attempt those questions. Next one is about what? Close test. But today it is a little different. Here, there are two things you have to do. First, based on the options you have to decide that particular option goes with which particular blank, and whether it is right or wrong. The spelling may not be right, word form may not be right, the verb may not be right. You have to write or tell the correct word. So what is the word for first blank? Look at all the options. Why no response? Answer is D. But D, is it ought for or ought to? Please write. The states to ought to be. I hope you got the exercise, what you're supposed to do. Think of the right word, but think of the right word, right form also. Ought for is not correct, ought to be. Ought to be what? Prudence or prudent? Very good. B is the one, but not prudence. Prudent. Prudence noun form, we have to use the adjective form. In their decision making without leaving scope for questions on the merit of their decisions. The absence of any lied or laid. What is the spelling? Very good. Not lied down, laid down. Laid. Answer is the first one, laid down. Process to seek applications and assess. Okay, we'll go to the next one. The larger point that. What? The larger point that should forget is one or none. None. Here, not one. F is a word, but what is the right word here? None should forget. No one should forget is that governors are explicitly restricted in their functioning by the aid and advise. What is the spelling here? V-I-C-E or V-I-S-C? V-I-C-E. Aid and advise clause in the Constitution and ought not to misuse the discretion power space or discretionary space. Discretion is not the right word. You have to change it to discretionary. Discretionary space. How do you find this? Easy or challenging or not challenging? Challenging. Today I have brought, last week I brought 5 idioms. Today 5 phrasal verbs. Read the first one and tell me to make up for, you have to tell the letter A, B, C, D, E, which one? Make up for means what? Yes, B. So what is the answer here? Compensate for something. Make up for something, compensate for something. Make off, what is the answer? Make off means escape, hurry away. So what is the answer here? D is the answer. Make out. I'm sure you will be able to make out. Make out means what? Understand. Make out is British English and figure out is American English. Both mean the same. So what is the answer here? A is the answer. Make into. Convert one thing into another. What are you left with? Make for. Move towards something. That's a bit difficult. C. All these are in a way not that difficult. You can manage. But sometimes what happens, they give in isolation, then you may get confused. So try to spend some time, make your own examples. We'll go to questions based on the comprehension skill. Read the first question based on today's editorial. What is the main issue discussed in the editorial? Economic growth, say yes or no. Air pollution in North India during November? Yes or no? Yes, that is the answer. Don't go beyond. In the editorial, why is November considered a critical month for air pollution in North India? It marks the beginning of the monsoon? No. It is a peak season for construction activities? No. It is when the southwest monsoon recedes and pollutants accumulate. Answer is C. What is the role of the Commission for Air Quality Management, CAQM, as mentioned in the editorial? Enforcing traffic laws? No. Please respond yes, no. Monitoring the construction industry? No. Recommending measures to address air pollution? Yes. Answer is C. According to the editorial, what has been the trend in air quality during the first half of November in recent years? Steady improvement, severe pollution levels, decreased air pollution, stable conditions. Stable conditions or severe pollution levels? Severe pollution levels. Answer is, what is one of the key challenges mentioned in the editorial that needs to be addressed to fight air pollution in November? Reducing agricultural activities, controlling stubble burning, regulating power generation, tackling urban development. So what is the answer? B, controlling stubble burning. We have about 7 minutes, and last week, starting this month, 1st to 4th, 4 days, these are the words you got. Let us see how many of these you remember. Now on, I'm going to present end of the week, entire week, or Monday, entire week, all the words. No need to tell the part of speech because we don't have so much time, so many words we have to recollect. I'll read the word, you tell the meaning immediately. Stationary, static, no movement. No need to tell the entire meaning, tell the keyword, that is enough. Horrific, horrible, and indigenous, local or native, proactive, taking the initiative, doing something before someone tells you to do, and chronic, lasting for a long time. Empanel, actually empanel means to take someone onto the panel, but based on the editorial, provide employment. Holistic, complete, exhaustive, comprehensive. Revamp, make something better. Revitalize, revamp, reshape, all these. Virtue, good quality. Blueprint, plan to achieve success. Unveil, make public, divulge, discourse, reveal. A roadmap, strategy to achieve your goal. Brainstorm, group discussion for ideas. And a blind spot, unforeseen, unexpected problem which may appear in future. Hue, color or shade. Blip, to deviate, very good, deviate from the path. Hark back, to go back to the past or talk about something that happened in the past. Hastening, speed up, very good. Abandon, leave someone or something. Black swan. Black swan means what? An event or an incident that may make a negative impact at a later stage. Unforeseen negative incident. Laudable, appreciable. Warrant, demand. Based on the context, the situation warrants means what? The situation demands. Scapegoat, blaming an innocent person. Go scot-free, escape punishment. Jeopardy, endanger. Flee, run away. Detention, detain, hold someone officially, usually in jail. Deportation, send someone from one country to another country using force. Stranded, held up. To get stranded means what? To get held up. And woes, problems are major problems. Major problems. Outwit, to be smarter than the other person by using some trick. to be smart, smarter than someone else, skirmishes, small fights along the border, and porous. Based on the editorial, porous membrane means allowing particles from this side to that side. Porous border means allowing people from one country to another country. And regime, government, usually authoritarian, need not be all the time. Flag, mark something as a problem or as a warning. Undermine, weaken something or someone. Assent, approval. Remission, cancel punishment, something. And aggrieve, make someone angry, very good. Convict, a person who has been found guilty and punished. Hostile, enmity or antagonistic. 2 words you have to recollect. Statute, a written law brought out by a legislative body. And stymie, delay, very good. Prudent, wise, clever, thinking of the future. Discretionary, to be able to judge what is right, what is wrong. I expected better response, but still I appreciate. Do remember of CHSL.